Hey everybody, welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you a bunch of essential chords for writing math rock, Midwest emo, and post rock in FACGCE tuning. So in this lesson we're going to cover a bunch of shapes for important sounds like major 7, major 9, minor 9, and Sus2. And as always, chord diagrams will be up on the screen to make things easy to follow, but if you want to see all of the chords in a single source, then I've created a PDF which is available on my Patreon page in the link below. Finally, if you like this content, then be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell button so you don't miss any future videos. Without further ado then, let's get started. Okay, for all of the chords that we're going to look at today, these are going to be based on the key of C major. And for our first chord, this is going to be the tonic chord of the key, or the 1 chord, and it's a C major triad. For our first voicing then, we have a C major triad in root position, and then we can get it in first inversion, like this, and finally in second inversion, based off the lowest string. For voicings based off the A string, we have one right here, in the form of root position, and then we have C over E, and we have C over G. And if you're looking for a movable major triad shape, what you can do is you can take this first voicing here, and just play the bottom 3 strings, and you can move this up to a different degree of the scale. So in this case, now I have an F major voicing, and I can drop this down to the 2nd fret to get a G major voicing. So once again, these are the major triad chords. Okay, for our next chord, we have the major 7 chords. So this chord can be used as the 1 chord or the 4 chord in the diatonic scale. And for our first shape, we have a C major 7 chord right here, and this shape is actually movable, so I can take this exact same fingering and move it up to the 12th fret, and I'll have an F major 7 chord. As for another shape, I have a C major 7 over E, so an inverted voicing right here, and I can get another inverted voicing right over here in the form of a C major 7 over G. And finally, I have one more movable shape for you guys, which looks like this here. So again, I can take this shape and I can move it up to F to get an F major 7 chord. So let's look at these voicings one more time. We have a root position major 7, which can be moved. And then we have a first inversion C major 7 chord, and a second inversion C major 7 chord. And then finally, we ended with that movable root position root position major 7 chord, which is built off the A string. And I can move it up to F2 to get an F major 7 chord. Okay, for our next set of chords, we've got the major 9 or major 7 Sus2 sounds. So a major 7 Sus2 chord is closely related to a major 9, except for the fact that it's missing the 3rd, which makes it tonally ambiguous. As for diatonic harmony, this chord can be built as the 1 chord or the 4 chord in your diatonic scale. And for our first voicing, we have an F major 9 chord, which is just the open notes of the tuning, or F, A, C, G, C, and E. And if I want to make this voicing movable, all I have to do is bar the 12th fret and move this guy down to the 7th fret. And this will give me a nice, dreamy C major 9 chord. For our next voicing, we have a major 7 Sus2 chord, which looks like this. And if I want to make it movable, I can just build it based off the A string and slide it to C or F, respectively. Next up, we have another F major 9 voicing right here, and this guy's movable, so you can take this and build it off the 8th fret to get an F major 9 sound. And if you build it based off the 3rd fret, you'll have a C major 9 sound. After that, we've got another voicing right here, which is an F major 9 voicing. And finally, I have 2 major 7 Sus2 shapes in the form of this one right here, and this chord. So when it comes to major 7 Sus2, this sound is actually quite easy to find in a number of different voicings. So the ones that I've offered are just a couple starting ideas, but you can definitely derive more from this tuning system. So let's take another look at these chords here. We had F major 9, which is the open chord, the tuning, and then I said you could bar it to make it movable, in this case giving us a C major 9 chord. And then we had F major 9 up here, or F major 7 Sus2 I should say, and then I said you could make this one movable by just playing it based off the A string, and then we had another movable major 9 shape, the form of this one. So if you drop it to the 3rd fret, you get C major 9. And then we had this shape, which is another F major 9 chord. And then finally, these last 2 F major 7 Sus2 sounds. So yeah, those are major 9 and major 7 Sus2 chords. Okay, next up is the Sus2 chord. So I like to treat this chord as a major chord basically I will use it as the 1 chord, the 4 chord, or the 5 chord in the diatonic scale. That being said, it actually can be used based off of quite a few other degrees in the scale, but this is how I use it. So for our first shape, we have a Sus2 chord that looks like this, and this one right here is an F Sus2 chord, and this guy can be moved. So if I drop it down to the 7th fret here, then we have a C Sus2 chord. For our next shape, we have a Sus2 that looks like this, and we can get a slightly more full voicing if I do some barring here. So if I do that, then I have a nice big Sus2 sound. And for our next shape, we've got one more right here, like that. So this is an F Sus2 chord. It's got open notes, so it's not movable. And finally, we have a voicing that looks like that right here. So this one is movable as well. So once again, we have Sus2 like that, and then we have a Sus2 over here, and we have this nice movable Sus2 shape, and then we have an F Sus2, and finally this other movable Sus2 voicing. All right, for our next set of voicings, we have some minor 7 chords, and in particular, these are minor 7 no 5 chords, meaning these can be built off the 2, 3, 6, and even the 7th degree of the scale. So you can use these shapes in quite a lot of different positions within your diatonic harmony. For our first voicing, we have a movable shape which is based off the lowest string, and it looks like this here. So I can take this shape and I can move it up to get another minor 7 sound that is diatonic to the key. And moving on, we've got a couple shapes that are based off the A string. So I've got this nice minor 7 shell voicing right here. It's really easy to move around, and it sounds nice if you add some open notes to it, so I'd recommend giving that a go. And we can get a more spread out voicing or version of this chord here, which looks like this. And this too sounds great with a little bit of a open note action added to it. And finally, we've got one more voicing here based off the 4th string, which looks like that. So let's review those shapes one more time. So we've got this shape here based off the lowest string or the 6th string. And then we have this shell voicing. And then we have this other shell voicing, but it's more of a spread out shape. And then finally, we had this voicing. So once again, these are minor 7, no 5 chords. Okay, for our next chord, we're going to look at some minor 9 voicings. And these can be used as the 2 chord or the 6 chord in the diatonic scale. So for our first voicing, we've got a D minor 9 chord right here, which has some nice open notes in it. So this is not a movable shape, so you can't take this finger and move it somewhere else to do the open notes. For our next chord, we have another minor 9 shape. However, this one is movable. So this is a D minor 9 chord, and I can slide this guy up here to the 6th degree to get an A minor 9 chord. So once again, we have D minor 9 like this, and then we've got this other movable minor 9 shape. Finally, another very closely related chord is a minor add 9 chord. So if we're looking for another shape to use here, then we can play something that looks like this. So this is a minor triad with a 9th added to it. So in this case, this is a D minor add 9 chord. And I can slide this guy down to A here to get an A minor add 9 chord. And if we add some open notes into this thing, that can really help to make the voicing more interesting. So I can do that over here as well to change the sound. So yeah, those are minor 9s and a minor add 9 chord. All right, folks, so there you have it. If you like this video, then please make sure to like, share, and subscribe as I put out a new video every single week. And if you want to support the channel, then please consider checking out my Patreon page, where for as little as $1 a month, you guys will have access to some bonus content like guitar tabs, lesson notes, chord diagrams, and other little goodies like that. And honestly, the Patreon page really helps me out, as it allows me to get some extra equipment to make these videos better. And finally, I also teach privately through Skype. There's a link to my email address in the description below. So thank you all for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.